Explain like I'm 5. How does the house always win? If a gambler and the casino keep going forever, how come the casino is always the winner? The simplest example is a roulette wheel. It has black, red, and 2 green squares. The chance of a person winning is only ever slightly less than 50%. Sure, your gamblers will win sometimes, but over the long term, the house will win just enough to keep a stable income. Every casino game is designed this way. No matter how much they pay out, it will never be more than how much they collect from player losses. I would say the simpler explanation, though, is the house controls the rules to every single game on their floor. If a game isn't making the house money, then that game is either changed so that it can make the house money, or else that game isn't offered. That is a very good thing to include too. Blackjack has the famous counting cards strategy to tilt things in the player's favor without even cheating, but if someone is winning a little too much, they might get kicked out. Because the games they play are balanced in their favor. Take roulette, for example. If you bet on a single number, the payout is 35-1. Bet $100, win $3,500. But there are actually 37 or 38 numbers on a roulette table, depending on location, because they'll add a 0 and sometimes also a 0-0 to the wheel. So you aren't going to win 1 out of every 36 bets, you'll win 1 out of every 37 or 38. And that's true for every other bet as well. Betting on a red or black number pays 1-to-1, but it's not a 50-50 shot because the zeros are green and either bet will lose if one of those comes up. You can, of course, bet the zeros if you want, but their odds follow the same pattern as well. The payout is less than the true odds, so given enough time, the casino will win on average. Every casino game works the same way. If you compare the payout to the true odds of a particular spin of a wheel or roll of a dice, you'll find that the payout is always less than the actual odds. There are only small exceptions. Blackjack card counting works by finding a game with good rules, how many decks, how long between shuffles, how much a blackjack pays out, etc., and increasing your bet when there are more good cards left in the shoe than bad cards. But even then, the odds are only slightly in the player's favor, and they still have a chance of losing big on any given day, even if they might win over the long term. An individual person might win in the short term, but the casinos know that whatever one person wins, they'll make back from the dozens of other players lose. And of course, it's fairly likely that the person who wins will still keep playing and wind up losing the next time they play. They set the rules of the game, and they set them in their favor. Add to this the ability to remove someone who is winning, and there is not a tangible risk of card counters having their way with the house. Thing is, casinos don't care that much. BC, they actually love most card counters, because most card counters are bad or have insufficient bankrolls to cover the bad stretches. Everyone thinks they're going to be the next MIT blackjack team, but instead, most of them are just casino donors in the end. Explain like I'm 5. If a morbidly obese person suddenly stopped eating anything and only drank water, would all the fat get burnt before this person eventually dies from starvation? How much longer could that person theoretically survive as compared to an average one? Currently on a diet, I have no idea how this weird question even got into my mind, but here we go. The winner of the first Survivor in the US was overweight at the start and dropped a huge amount of weight, as did everyone else. By the end, he was the only one thinking clearly, and his extra weight was considered helpful. Afterwards, he went to jail for tax evasion, so he wasn't thinking that clearly. Lol. You need the vitamins and minerals that get lost through metabolism and urine. Additionally, amino acids cannot be fully recycled, so you would need to add those as well, or the body will take apart muscle, including the heart muscle, to obtain those amino acids. Protein equals multiple amino acids. If those 3 points are met, then yes, the obese person would only starve once their fat storage runs out. Depending on degree of obesity, this will take over a year. Without those vitamins, you will develop conditions like scurvy within a couple of months. Hair falls out, wounds don't heal, old scars break open, as well as other vitamin deficiency disorders. If you do not provide sufficient quantities of minerals, including regular table salt but many others, it will only take weeks at max before you die from most likely heart arrhythmia, because those minerals like sodium and potassium are required for all nerve signaling, and with too low or too high levels, the heart stops working. So supply the vitamins, minerals, and minimum amount of protein amino acids in the drink, then the person would indeed survive for as long as their fat storages last. Since fat has 9 kcal per gram, or slightly less in actual body fat, that's around 3,500 kcal per pound of fat. So with a fully sedentary lifestyle, you could use about 1 to 1.5 pounds of body fat per day. If you are 100 pounds overweight, you would go 70 to 100 days before your body weight reaches normal levels. and another 30 to 60 days before your body has no more accessible body fat and starts using proteins from muscle, etc., to turn it into glucose for energy. At which point, even with now sufficient food, there's a high risk of death. Someone who weighs 600 pounds could go about 1.5 years easily, assuming, as always, micronutrients and minimum quantity of amino acids are provided. If you just dumped an average weight person and an obese person on a deserted island with only fresh water to drink, their life expectancies, on average, would not be drastically different, as the lack of minerals and water-soluble vitamins would occur nearly independent of body fat. If you had some minor sources of food, the obese person would potentially be able to last longer, depending on the amount of minerals and vitamins they are able to find. To add to this, there have been several attempts of zero-calorie diets over a long period of time with supplements of vitamins and minerals. People died doing this, so please don't try this at home. Even with medical supervision, it is hard to predict what will happen. Zero-calorie diets for 1 to 2 weeks seem to be relatively safe, although I have not a source for this. There was a study where a man who was morbidly obese stopped eating altogether and only took vitamins and amino acids and drank water, and he had no lasting side effects, if I recall correctly. This was my assumption going into the thread, that as long as they took supplements for the actual nutrients they'd be missing, that it would be fine. Somebody should really just offer a package of that nutrients as starvation supplements. The negative publicity combined with the insane demand could probably make someone rich. Probably should come with a disclaimer that surviving on body fat and vitamin pills alone requires extreme discipline, because it really does suck. The biggest problem would be malnutrition. Their body would keep itself fueled by burning the fat, only after which would starvation itself be a concern. However, they would be severely deficient in just about every form of nutrient we require, vitamins, iron, etc. This would leave them at severe risk of many health problems. Explain like I'm 5. If carbohydrates provide 4 calories per gram, protein provides 4 calories per gram, and fat provides 9 calories per gram, why are carbs evil? Why are carbs considered fattening when they have the same caloric count as proteins? Your body isn't burning all proteins or lipids you eat as calories. Your cells are made up of proteins and lipids, so your body will use those that you eat to replenish and strengthen cells before using the excess as energy. Lipids and proteins can be used for energy, but typically after the glycogen and glucose from carbs are depleted in the body. However, carbohydrates are only used for energy, not for building cells and molecules. So if you eat 10 grams of each, your body may use only 2 grams of protein for energy, 4 grams of lipids for energy, but all 10 grams of carbohydrates will be used for energy. I have no clue on the real rates. This is just an example. The excess carbs will be converted to glycogen and then to solid fats after glycogen is full. Proteins will never convert to fats. This is why the disorder, rabbit starvation, protein poisoning, occurs in people, animals who only eat rabbits or other very lean meats. They have so little fat content that if you only eat rabbits, you will become weak and possibly die due to inadequate lipid intake. Your cells need lipids in order to function and reproduce. Plasma membrane and all organelle membranes are lipids. For the Explain Like I'm 5, we have gold, silver, and paper cash. You can melt down gold and silver, and then use those metals to make things. We can make silverware, rings, jewelry, and many other things with gold and silver. However, cash only has one use, to serve as a standard for exchanging goods and services. You can't build things out of paper cash like you can gold and silver. If you did, it wouldn't be worth the cash it's made out of. Carbohydrates are like cash, which is only useful for one specific thing, energy. Proteins and lipids are gold and silver. They can be used as currency if you have no paper money, but they are better off being used as solid objects. To add on to your gold cash description, someone hands you $100 cash, you go to the store, but you only spend $10 to get the things you need. Now, you have $90 left over. You're not spending it today, so you put it in your wallet to spend later. The next day, you get another $100. You only spend part of it, so the leftovers go into your wallet, along with the cash you'd saved the day before. Adipose is our wallet. We have money energy we could spend, but got more than we could spend for the day. So we save the extra to spend later. Which bank will convert my ass for money? I have quite an investment going on. Are the long-chain carbs complex carbohydrates like oatmeal and whole grain rice? Yes, to scale, regular white rice is still not as bad as eating spoons full of pure sugar. Carbs are not fattening per se. No food is fattening per se. What matters is amount. You will be fatter eating 10 salads than a pack of French fries or an ice cream cone. It's simply a lot easier to fatten on carbs compared to protein, because unless you're guzzling huge volumes of protein shakes, you are unlikely to consume 1,000 calories worth of proteins, the same way you can easily consume 1,000 calories of carbs. Well, that's another episode of Explain Like I'm 5 in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.